And Marina, would you like to introduce our speaker, please?
Yep, absolutely, Les. Thank you so much. It'll be my pleasure. I'm not gonna do our, very long introduction, but I do truly appreciate Roy coming to speak to us about the Disaster Relief Fund and all the humanitarian efforts that Rotary is working on. I know Roy personally for a number of years. He is a member of Shrewsbury Rotary Club, and he is also one of the founding members of the Rotary Networking Group and Rotary Networking Initiative. So, without further ado, I would like to give the microphone to Roy and, just ask him to let us know what our district is doing, how this fund was established, and what are the initiatives that are part of this disaster relief, and how we as Rotarians in our club can donate or help to this disaster relief fund. So,
well, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. But in a few minutes, I'm going to show you just a couple of slides, about 8 slides. But let me frame it first as to what you'll see. It's going to start with good times. Many of you are aware, or maybe not aware, that we in our district planted the Rotary seed by helping co-sponsor the first Kiev Rotary Club that is now 30 years later has grown to 62 Rotary clubs in Ukraine. But they're now facing tragedy and they need our help again. You're also going to see a short video that, while there is 2 sides of every question, we cannot ignore the reports from reputable groups like the United Nations, American Red Cross, and our own Rotary clubs in Ukraine, that there's a serious humanitarian crisis going on in Ukraine, and that the scenes that you're going to see are all too real. No matter who's right or who's wrong, the people caught in the middle are in serious trouble. But you're also going to see some uplifting coordination of the Rotary clubs in Ukraine and throughout the Rotary world, including the first ever disaster grant by your neighboring club. All importantly, how you can help now. I'll also post in the chat some links of the things that you see to provide you some more information and even a Facebook connection with Ukraine. So if you want, you can speak directly to those Ukrainians if you wish. Okay, directly to your fellow Rotarians in Ukraine. There's going to be 3 short videos and a couple of other slides. So let me start with this one, give you a little history about our district and how this all got started. There was a really good video that was prepared by the Rotarians in Ukraine to share with the world. And Joyce did a wonderful job editing it. And we now use it as the platform. And Diana saw that again earlier today. Is there any way you could show that one now? Yeah, that is a heart-wrenching thing to see. And let's see if I can go back to the PowerPoint again. What happens is you just saw that video. If you have a heart, you can understand why there's a reason to help. In this case, I also want to let you know that the Rotarians in Ukraine, those 62 clubs, and even in the Kiev club, I don't know if you can see this picture or not, but these are actually Rotarians in Kiev, Ukraine, distributing aid. Some of you have met Tamara and on video, and others have not, but it is really heartwarming to see them still in the middle of a battle zone distributing aid. And these are Rotarians in their blue aprons, which all of us have seen from time to time. But sometimes helping in a war zone is, yes, donations of money. But as you see over here to this left, can you
Yes.
can you see this thing over here?
Yes.
Okay, there's a Facebook page that is created by the Rotarians in Ukraine. And if you want to communicate with them, you can. And I put that link in the chat box. So if you really want to speak with them directly, sometimes helping somebody is donating money. Sometimes it's just a random act of kindness. And I'll give you an example of one of those right here. On February 26th, one of our fellow Rotarians in downtown Kiev, his name is Yuri Volvich. His son, which you see to the right, was turning 7, and he did not want to celebrate his birthday on the 26th. He said, "Mom, Dad, I'll just celebrate next year," because outside his door was gunfire and the violence of war. But there was a Rotarian in our district. Her name is Susan Howard. Some of you know her. This is called a random act of kindness. She learned about this little boy's birthday and sent just this simple thing, this picture over here of her puppy, wishing this little boy in the middle of a war zone happy birthday. And it changed his state of mind, his mood. Now, unfortunately, you probably can't hear this, but in response, this little boy sent Susan back a little video, which I don't know if you'll hear it or not, but I'll try it.
Dear Mrs. Susan Howard, thank you and your teddy bear for birthday wishes.
So he basically sent a little video back saying, thank you, Susan, for sending me birthday wishes. What I'm trying to say in all this is everybody goes, give me money, give me money. Sometimes it's just communicating one human to another. And this is a perfect example of this. The message here is that the Rotarians are helping themselves. In other words, the Rotary clubs of District 2232, which is Belarus and Ukraine, all those clubs that are banding together to help each other and to distribute it. That's actually a Rotary bus that's distributing aid throughout Ukraine. So what I'm trying to say with this particular video is that the Rotarians are helping themselves, but they also need our help as well. But it's a message that a lot of non-Rotarians don't understand. So it's really important. Why donate to help Ukraine through Rotary? So a lot of you have been in Rotary for a lot of years. You know these reasons, but it's good to explain to people who maybe are your friends or relatives or corporations that you know that would like to donate. Rotary is not a religious, nor is it a political organization. There's 1.2 million of caring professionals and 35,000 Rotary clubs in 220 countries. Rotary donations are not impacted by admin fees. Every dollar for this Ukraine project goes toward the effort. Rotary has a global reputation of good stewardship for donations and prioritizing the emergency needs. Rotary donations are US tax deductible, and Rotary, and I don't know how many of you knew this, but Rotary is the only global charity that has a seat on the United Nations. Non-governmental, NGO stands for non-governmental organization. Did everybody know that? Anybody know that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a seat in the
Yes.
UN. Consider sharing this message with, and this
Yes.
donations links that you see in the chat with your friends and relatives. And by the way, all charities are working to be helpful. What's interesting is, like you say, you're going to be listening to the American Red Cross, which is interesting. If you go look on Charity Navigator, you'll find Rotary is listed as 4 stars, rated as excellent, and American Red Cross is 3 stars, rated as good. So in some sense, the reputation of Rotary actually is even better than Red Cross. But the personal elements of this is that you have a personal connection, because in essence, these are fellow Rotarians that you're helping. What are our clubs doing? Okay, well, just what happened historically is the first ever District 7910 disaster grant. It was provided to the Rotary Club of Western Wayland, who has a connection to a doctors group in Boston that are actually in Poland and in Ukraine helping with the refugees, and they're looking for and needed medical supplies. Now, some of you that have been in Rotary for a lot of years, when I say the word grant, you usually think of things like global grants, which means you got to raise money to do something, or the Rotary Foundation matches you. District grants are entirely different. It's basically you say what the emergency need is, describe it, do you know what I mean? And Rotary Foundation funds it completely. You don't need a dime. It comes directly from the foundation's donation emergent disaster fund pool of money. At the moment, it's now over $3 million. The Rotary Club of Western Wayland was able to apply for a district grant for $25,000 and was approved by Rotary Foundation in 5 hours on an exception basis. And the reason why I say it's an exception basis is because disaster grants are normally awarded to Rotary clubs that are in and around the disaster. Obviously, Boston's and Weston and Wayland are not in a disaster area. So they approved it because they were able to get access to these medical supplies that you see, antibiotics, insulin, trauma kits, and IV fluids, because those are the things that are immediately needed. Okay, and to ship them directly, freight free to Poland and then on into Lviv, Ukraine. And end to end in this conversation is Rotary clubs supervising the purchasing and distribution and shipment of those goods. And the Lviv club, which Diana is working with, is helping coordinate the receipt of those. So this is a historical event in Rotary's history. Never before was a disaster grant provided to a Rotary club outside of a disaster area. By the way, if you're in the disaster area, Ukrainian clubs, Poland clubs, and clubs surrounding Ukraine, they're able to currently get access to $50,000 in the same time frame, the same speedy approval. And I think we'll probably hear in a few days that maybe that $50,000 will be raised to $100,000. So that's a significant difference. Now, what can you do? Well, here's the fastest donation. The fastest way to donate is to use the share link to the Rotary Disaster Response Fund that is in that chat link that I put. Another way is to use can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is a little bit slower, okay, but if you want to write a check, your foundation chair can provide you this form, which is a contribution form. And please put District 7910 and make sure you put your club information here on the form. It's a fill in the blank kind of. Here's another thought that you might want to think about that's nearer to us is the Rotary Club of, and by the way, please do this before April 30th. And the reason is this. Rotary Foundation did something else that was historic, is the donations that occurred to that disaster grant before April 30th, every dollar goes toward the Ukraine effort. Now, normally disaster funds for Rotary are provided to any disaster area anywhere globally. But in this particular instance, the foundation made a decision, a historic decision, that any donation that occurs in the disaster response fund before April 30th goes completely toward the disaster in Ukraine. Second is all of those funds will be used before June 30th. In other words, the Rotary clubs in the various countries around and in Ukraine will receive that money in those various grants before June 30th. Yeah, Diana, would you like to explain what this is?
Yeah, it will be my pleasure. We had a meeting today, lunchtime, our time, with the representatives of the 6 clubs and districts that are initially the sponsors of the very first Rotary Club in Ukraine after the collapse of Soviet Union in 1990. Because, you might know that there were Rotary clubs on the territory of Ukraine before the Second World War that were actually part of Poland at the time. So that's why I make this clarification. So as Roy started his presentation tonight, back in 1992, there were 6 clubs, 3 in the United States, 2 in Canada and 1 in Scotland, that were the sponsors of the first club in Kiev after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And those folks, as you saw in his presentation, his PDF presentation, they were celebrating the milestones, the 10 years anniversary since the club started, the 20 years, and this year is the 30th year. And Roy, and thank you very much for that, he organized that gathering together of those 6 clubs and their districts. And today was our second meeting for the past month. And we got together to collaborate on how we can help people in Ukraine and how we can obviously work with the Rotary clubs there. So that's the picture that Royce is showing today,
And
tonight.
what's interesting is that the people that attended this, the individual in the middle of the screen named Boris is actually dialing in from Lviv, Ukraine. The gentleman to your lower right named Mark was dialing in also from Ukraine, and the name at the lower right, Kyrilo,
Kirill.
he was dialing in from Kiev to listen in. So when you say you don't have direct connections, you do. Here they are. And that Facebook connection for you is also available should you ever want to reach out to any of them. So again, to the right on the chat box is links to those things. Maybe the more things about the donation, as Joyce was referring to, as well as some of those additional videos that you might find of some interest. This is very personal for a lot of us because we have a lot of friends in that part of the world. And also, just so you know, just as a matter of kind of side trivia, is that one of the members of the Kiev club was his father was one of the co-sponsors was from Clarkson, Michigan, and his father's the guy named is Lou Hugo, who convinced his son back in 1991-92 to join the Rotary Club of Kiev, and I think you all know him now as General Secretary of Rotary. So we have some very good history. We just need to be able to help them now. And if you saw that video that Joyce showed, if you're not affected by that or motivated to donate in some fashion, then I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. It's important to help them now. They need help. So again, thanks for listening.
Diana.
Thank you so much, Roy, and thank you to all my friends in Brookline Rotary Club. And I am so happy to see so many people that are on the call tonight that are not Rotarians. And I'm pretty sure that after tonight, you wouldn't think twice but joining Brookline Rotary, right? So what I want to comment on is I want to reiterate what Roy said. Why helping in this crisis through Rotary? Because first, we are the very first service organization in the world, which was started in 1905 in Chicago, a very first humanitarian organization in the world, and and we do have a very first foundation within a humanitarian organization. And we do not have overheads. Why our projects, our international projects are successful? Because we do know people that are on the other side. We have our counterparts, whether they will be in Ukraine or in any other part of the world that needs our help. And again, we are non-religious and non-political organization. We are humanitarian organization, and that's what we do. We help people in need, whether in our close communities or within the world. And of course, for us, it is much easier now to to start and continue with that help, because we do have, as you call it, boots on the ground. We know people there. And especially with this, the disaster response grant, honestly, when we went into negotiating with the Rotary International Foundation last week, a week ago, honestly, well, some of you know me, and you know that I don't give up easily, but still, I thought that no, there's no way that we could get that, and we got it. And now, talking to people there in Ukraine and all the neighboring countries that help Ukraine refugees, and they are saying what kind of medication they need, and we can provide that. Uh, don't you feel proud that you're a Rotarian? And thinking about how how it all started, and in Rotary, always everything starts with one person, one idea, and all the rest of the fellow Rotarians are so passionate, or I use the word crazy, that they get on the idea and they work and they make it happen. And we are actually considering sending more medications. And I'd like to share with you why I personally think that the prescription medication, what we are doing now with this grant, and what we are doing, and the grant is actually awarded to the district, not to the club. That's how it works. The disaster response grant cannot be awarded to a club. They are awarded to a district. So those of you who don't know me, you've already guessed that this accent is not Bostonian accent. I am originally from Bulgaria, and I'm not, my home country is not bordering Ukraine, but I'm on the other side, for your, clarifying your geography. I'm on the other side of the Black Sea coast, so we are pretty close. And the Rotarians in Bulgaria, the Rotary district in Bulgaria, they did an amazing work. They actually got one of those 50,000 grants already, because they're helping refugees coming through Romania and Moldova, and the ones that cannot, are very close to the border of Poland. And our friends in Bulgaria, Rotarians, that are closer, the clubs that are closer to the Danube River. Danube River separates Romania and Bulgaria. All those clubs, and the clubs that are by the Black Sea coast, believe it or not, there is no single Rotarian that does not host in their own homes refugees. So again, why I'm saying that is they all said, well, when you see people that they lost their homes, they lost their families, they lost their country, what do you do? Of course, you want to feed them, you want to give them water, you want to clothe them, you want to give them shelter. And somehow, on the back burner, the prescription medications are left there, because you want to save people, you want to, give them the basic necessities. But guess what? With women and children and old people, the necessities of prescription medication are real. So that's why when, we heard that we could find this channel of transporting prescription medication over to Ukraine, we jump on that, and we will make it happen.
Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you very much, Roy. This was wonderful presentation, wonderful work. I myself come from a region that's very corrupted, and also conflicts are historic in it. And I know exactly what it means to lend a hand and to help those people. Usually people that are mostly hurt and are people in the middle. the people that have nothing to do with the government and the big decision makers, the people that go to bed, everything is fine, wake up, everything upside down. And those are the ones that really, I know, Diane, I see you shaking your head. I know that because I'll tell you, there's not one single Lebanese I know in the Boston area that doesn't have an adopted family in Lebanon that we send money every month, because even if the war in Ukraine stops right now, it's going to be 20 years till things come back to,
Absolutely.
or 30 or more, than things come back to normal. So the need is no question, is there. Once you mention war, there's going to be a lot of need. And yes, you're right. We have to help. We have to help. It's a humanity. We cannot enjoy our good fortune knowing others are in need. So thank you very, very much for coming and talking to us.
And again, and thank you, Elias. And again, don't forget, we are a humanitarian organization. We've been helping people around the world since 1905. And it doesn't matter what those countries were, what those people were, what their ethnicity was. This is what we do. When we detect a need, we are there.
Yes.
To help.
And also, Diana, I'd like to add one thing about Rotary and giving it through Rotary. When there are wars, there are corruptions. And there are people that would, opportunists, people that would take things. And, you send money and somebody on the other end is waiting for that opportunity to grab it and take it away from those who needs it. But with Rotary, that doesn't happen, because so from a Rotary club to another Rotary club, from a Rotary district to another Rotary district. So we are definitely, and I know that for a fact because I did 2 matching grants in Lebanon, and it costed me quite a bit of traveling to make sure that this is what happened. And Rotary Foundation was so careful not to give the final signature until what was said to be done was done. So giving through Rotary, definitely I believe in it. Definitely I think it's the right thing to do. And when I announced early on in the meeting about the Red Cross also does great work, but their mission basically in Ukraine now mostly blood. That's what I was told. So they have also a little bit different mission, which is fine. We will help whatever we can. So thank you very, very much for coming and talking to us. And
Elias, can I show you?
Roy.
Yeah, can I show you just one more thing? Can I share my screen and hopefully you'll see it. If you want to talk to your fellow Rotarians in Ukraine, that link is in the chat box. Talk to them. Sometimes it's the money, fine. Sometimes it's just a sentiment that you care. Here's the other link. This is actually the Ukrainians themselves that put this together. And by the way, you can see where Joyce got her graphic.
Question: are we being asked to donate individually or to contribute to our club's joint donation?
Well, right now, a lot of people are donating individually, but clubs like Bedford and others are doing matching. In other words, for example, they've got a little war chest themselves, and they're telling their Rotarians, hey, look, you donate $100, we'll match your $100. Up to, like, I think $500 is, I think, their limit.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm asking our club president.
Oh, your club.
Well, okay, this is what happened in our club, last board meeting. We voted $2,000, and we did agree that we're going to have more to go. So yes, we already sent $2,000. We will be sending more.
I've got comment, something quite on the same subject, but off subject. Over the course of COVID, My wife and I have been taking online courses with a Professor Stephen Burke from Union College, who's been doing things all through the pandemic. And they're talking about having volunteers going to the border to help with the refugees coming in. And at this point, they had said they don't have a need right now for more people. There are too many people there already. And they're going to be putting out, he connects through a company called Ayala Tours, and they're going to be putting out, we'll get a note if there's going to be a need. So if anyone has any interest in going to Europe to help at the border with the refugees, email me, and then I will, when we get a note that they're looking for help, I'll get back to you.
Let me add one more thought that you may not know. Those 6 clubs that you saw in 6 districts is the Rotary International, Rotary Evanston, Illinois. When the donations are over after April 30th, they're going to do a very special report about what our 6 districts did and what we donated collectively. They view this as an example of the collaboration of Rotary. And so please, I'm hoping we have some decent donations between now and April 30th so we can have a watch. One club, was it Diana? Was it Toronto? Donated $100,000.
Wow.
Toronto, yes.
Toronto.
7040, District 7040, yeah.
So I hope we have a decent showing. So
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
And if anybody wants to look it up, you check on a GuideStar or on Charity Navigator for the Rotary Foundation, TRF. Somebody said they looked up Rotary International and it wasn't rated. That's not the charity. The charity is the Rotary Foundation.
I'll give you a little funny story. There's a guy named John Huco, you all know, right? Okay. Hold on. He asked a friend, did you donate? Well, one of his friends was the regional manager for Bristol Myers Squibb. Bristol Myers Squibb donated $200,000 to the Ukraine effort, but didn't know the donation, the fund had even existed for Rotary. And that was John's friend.
Yeah.
So I say that because sometimes ask.
True.
You never know.
I agree with you.
Just ask. They may not donate, but didn't know they could donate with you.
Yeah, I agree. You just have to make it known.
Just ask.
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much. And I'm sure Rotary will do good. We already do good. I mean, in this area, we'll do what we need to do. And let's pray for them over there. Let's pray that the war ends. Let's pray that the suffering ends. Let's pray that, the world will be a better place very soon.
Thank you.